Continuation of Chapter 7. Second part. Liberalism. Naturalists and Rationalists, Abettors of Liberalism. The second part of the encyclical on liberalism now begins. Absolute liberalism and its principles are presented. Quote, "Many there are who follow in the footsteps of Lucifer and adopt as their own his rebellious cry, 'I will not serve,' and consequently substitute for true liberty what is sheer and most foolish license. Such, for instance, are the men belonging to that widely spread and powerful organization who, usurping the name of liberty, style themselves liberals." End quote. This is indeed the definition of liberalism. Quote, "What naturalists or rationalists aim at in philosophy, that the supporters of liberalism, carrying out the principles laid down by naturalism, are attempting in the domain of morality and politics." End quote. In the encyclicals on Freemasonry, as we saw, the popes denounced the grave errors of naturalism and rationalism. The liberals thus are the partisans of these errors in the civil and moral orders. What is the chief principle of the rationalists? The sovereign dominion of human reason. Ultimately, man makes himself God. He only obeys his own reason. He only obeys himself. Quote, "The fundamental doctrine of rationalism is the supremacy of the human reason, which, refusing due submission to the divine and eternal reason, proclaims its own independence and constitutes itself the supreme principle and source and judge of truth. Hence, these followers of liberalism deny the existence of any divine authority to which obedience is due." End quote. Duty precedes rights. Further on, the Pope says that there are different kinds of liberals, that all are not as radical in their way of thinking, but the root vice of liberalism is none the less present, the denial of authority. It is the same principle underlying the rights of man. There are rights, but no duties, because whoever says duty says obligation, and thus authority, and thus a point of reference above oneself. Who gives us these duties? Who will judge if we fulfill them? Who will punish us if we neglect them? Obviously, a superior authority. There is the authority of the father of a family, the head of a state, the head of the church. But to what do these authorities report, if not to the authority of God? Thus, as soon as one speaks of duties, one is led to God. That is why it is necessary to speak of the Decalogue, of the law of God. To preach duty is to exhort the practice of virtue and responsibility. When everyone fulfills his duty, the rights of others will be respected. The father of a family has the duty to rear his children according to the Christian religion. He guarantees by that fact the rights the children have to a Christian education. And so on. The industrial magnate, if he fulfills his duties, will respect the rights of his employees to a just wage. But these also have the duty to do the work that is justly required of them. Duty precedes rights. It is very important to retain this adage. We are born with duties, and we have rights in order to be able to accomplish them. We are born with the duty to adore God, and that is why no one has the right to keep us from doing so. In the same way, the father of a family has the duty to bring up his children, to feed and shelter them, and it is for this reason that he has rights. For example, the right to a certain amount of private property, and the right to be able to earn by his labor what is necessary to be able to rear them. Let us retain the principle that it is duty that is the basis of rights, and not the inverse, as the Rationalists and Liberals, for whom man is born with rights, dare to assert.